In this video, I'm going to be showing you all the production secrets behind Bryson Tiller's incredible R&B sound. We're going to be making 3 beats inspired by 3 different Bryson Tiller songs, but let's start where it all began with 2015's Trap Soul. For me, there's one song that I had to study from this album, and that's Exchange.
This what happened when I think about you.
Foreign Tech sampled KP and Envy's Swing My Way to make a beat that arguably changed the sound of R&B. Although for this video, I want to go one step further than sampling and make our own sample from scratch. Obviously, the main element of the sample is the vocals, however underneath that is a moody R&B guitar. After some messing around, I put down this progression. I did 2 separate takes, one where I strummed the chords and one where I arpeggiated them. The strummed version is giving us the body of the sample, so I processed it to make it sound really full. First, we have a preamp giving distortion, then we have a chorus, reverb and EQ, and finally a shaper box. The arpeggiated guitar is processed differently to give it a lighter sound compared to the strummed one. First, I added a compressor and a Stark, which is a guitar amp plugin. Then we have a room reverb and an EQ. Next, I wanted to add some texture, so I ran the arpeggiated guitar through Portal and chopped these 2 parts to layer on top. Next, we have the most important part, the vocals.
Every time, what you hear is on my mind all the time.
Now the vocals on Exchange are quite present, so I didn't want to over process our vocals. First we have an altar boy pitching it up, then we have a reverb, an EQ and a delay. After that I put the vocals in Edison and lowered the sample rate, giving us that filtered out sound that Bryson is famous for. Now as you can hear, the loop doesn't end properly. There's something missing that's going to bring us back to that first chord, so I added this Rhodes. Now before I started the drums, I wanted to process the sample as a whole like Foreign Tech did on Exchange. He used a multi-effect plugin.
And this plugin has like a filter, it has delay, and it has like modulations and whatnot. So I can't really describe everything that it did to it, but it just gave it like a weird like ambient sound.
So I added an effect rack to our sample to give it a more ambient feel. For the drums, I started with 2 snares, 1 main snare and 1 for bounce. After that is a hi-hat. Then we have the bass. Just like the hi-hats, I left some gaps like Foreign Tech did in this clip.
I cut the end of the notes out, just makes it feel a little bit more spacey, not everything like all together.
And to finish it all off, we have a kick and an open hat. Now if you want to make chord progressions like you've just heard, then I've got something for you. Skillshare are offering a free 30-day trial to the first 1,000 people to sign up with the link in the description, so you can improve any area of your production for free for an entire month. You got nothing to lose, so make sure you take advantage of this while you can. I've been taking the R&B Neo Soul guitar course by the bearded guitarist to help me play chord progressions like you heard earlier. However, if you don't have a guitar, there are lots of other courses to help you learn, including ones for R&B production, music theory, piano skills, and the list goes on. There are thousands of ad-free courses on Skillshare with new ones added daily, so you'll never run out of things to learn. Don't wait until the new year. Make 2022 the year you finally learn music theory. Use this as a chance to invest in yourself and take your beats and melodies to the next level. The first 1,000 people to hit the link below and sign up get a free 30-day trial. Let's get back into the video. Fast forward to 2020 and his 3rd album, Anniversary, was released. One track in particular stood out to me, and that's Next to You. Like Exchange, the beat uses a sample where the vocals are the main element. It's actually a sample from this song.
I gotta get next to you.
Before we get into the vocals, I wanted to start with the piano. Tracks like Timeless Interlude and Keep Doing What You're Doing have vintage pianos with emotional chord progressions, so I put this down for our beat. I processed it with a heavy compressor, a room reverb, an EQ, and a flanger to give it that real vintage sound. Bryson loves to combine synth textures with real instruments, so I wanted to add a synth lead. First, I played in this counter melody with a lead from the Technicolor bank. Then I bounced it to audio, reversed it, and pitched it up an octave. Finally, I processed it with a shaper box, a reverb, an EQ, and a halftime. After that, all that's left is the vocals. First, I recorded in this lead vocal, which I processed with an alter boy, reverb, EQ, and delay. Then there's a second vocal layer, which I chopped from a different recording. After that, I added the drums. Second to last, we have 2 kicks. And finally, we have a synth bass from Technicolor. For the final beat of the video, we're taking inspiration from Bryson Tiller's Outside. The core of this beat is an ambient guitar in the background. After messing around with it for a while, I ended up just using the second chord and repitching it to give us our progression. First, I added a guitar amp which adds some phasing and modulation, then a halftime with the mix at around 70%, giving us both low and high end. After that is an EQ, followed by a shaper box and a reverb. There's just one more element for this melody, and that is some vocals. I started off by processing them with an alter boy, flanger, and a halftime. This gave it a slower, almost chopped and screwed kind of feel. Then I added a shaper box which completely changed the sound of the vocals. One final step with the sample is reversing it and chopping it to give it a vintage feeling. I also processed the top line melody to give a bit of variation. Vinyls combine modern and old school drums to create a really unique bounce on this song. The standout sound is a bass, which was sampled from this 2005 Yin Yang Twins song. But I want to show you how to sound design this bass yourself. First, I have Serum loaded up and I chose a sine wave. Now we have that, we need to change the envelope to make it a shorter, plucky sound. And finally, we need to assign an LFO to the coarse pitch knob. The pitch will quickly shift down, giving us that classic R&B bass sound. After the bass, we have a snap. Another essential 2000s R&B drum sound is a shaker. After that are 2 modern hi-hat sounds. Then we have 3 percussive sounds, including a ride, a bongo, and of course, a cowbell. One final modern element I wanted to add to the beat was an 808, giving us a bit more knock.